So this is where you'll find the Fevas. After sailing, please make sure that the cover's put on properly and all the straps are done up, including the shroud straps and the velcro across the foredeck, and then that the boat's tied down just in case it gets windy, it doesn't want to blow away. And also make sure that all the halyards are secure so they don't flap around in the wind. So once you've taken the cover off the boat, this is what it looks like. You should find the foils, the boom and all the ropes you'll need to sail. After sailing, please make sure you put the boom back on the boat across the centre line, and also take off one of the hatch covers and put it in the pocket, as this allows the boat to breathe, stopping it expanding in the heat. So before sailing, make sure all the hatch covers are screwed in and the bung is screwed in as well. First thing you need to do is rig the jib. To do this, you have to tie the tack onto the bar, trying to get it as close as possible, as this allows the boat to be sailed easier. Then you want to attach the head to the halyard and hoist the jib. Okay, so once the jib's up, you need to secure the halyard. First thing to do is loop it around the cleat at the bottom. Then you want to take your loose end and pass it around the frictionless ring, and then back down to the cleat whilst pulling quite a lot of tension on it. The windier it is, the tighter you want to pull this. Final thing you need to do for the jib is to thread the jib sheets through the cleat on both sides, and then I would suggest that you either tie them together with a reef knot or you tie a figure of 8 knots in the end so that they don't get lost. So next thing you want to do is rig your kite. First off, you want to tie the rope going to the top of the mast to the head with a bowline. Then you want to run your hands down the tape to remove any twists from the kite. And this will take you to the clue, and then if you run along the bottom of the kite, it should take you to the tack, which is here. The tack you want to bring to the front of the boat, pull out your pole, and you want to attach it to your kite pole. The trick with the spinnaker is to tie the knot as close as you can to the knot in the rope. That way the spinnaker is easier to control and has a better shape. Final thing to do with the spinnaker is to tie on the retrieval. So the retrieval knot line needs to go underneath all of the spinnaker to make sure that it doesn't get caught on anything. Then you go through the first patch, you follow it up the sail, and you'll find the second patch where you can tie it off. Final thing you need to do with your spinnaker is thread the sheets. So you want to come on top of your retrieval line, round the front of the jib and back to the block. Here you want to make sure you're inside of the shrouds. You pass it through the block, and then you want to tie the two together, making sure that they're underneath the boom. So final sail you need to do is the main. First of all, you want to look up the mast and make sure that the halyards aren't tangled. Then you can take it, wobble it onto the top of the sail, and then you want to feed the sail into the track here and use the other end of the rope to hoist it, making sure that you keep your head in the track. Okay, once the main's up, you want to use the cleat at the top of the mast by pulling the halyard towards the mast like this, and then it should put it in the cleat. To check, you can tug on the main and it shouldn't come down again. And the final step is to attach the bungee so it doesn't flap around. Gather up your halyard and place it in the bag. Now you want to attach the boom. It slots on here at the front, and then you come to the back of the sail where you can pass the outboard through the clew of the sail, and then it hooks over the back of the boom. The final thing you need to do for the main is to tie on a clew strap. This stops the main from being so far away from the boom. Now you want to attach your downhaul. This simply hooks into the tack of the sail, and then you want to feed one of the ropes that is pulling down into this cleat. To control the sail, you have 3 controls. This one here is the downhaul. To pull it on, you just pull on the rope, and to release it, you trip it from the cleat here. Then you've got kicker, which is here. Pull it on and release it. And then hanging off the boom, you have your outhaul, which is on the grey rope. Again, just pull it on to pull it on. And then on the boom here is a cleat which you can release it from. When moving the boat on the stones, you've got to be careful not to get any in the slot, as this can prevent the daggerboard from going in. To stop that happening, if you just push the boat slightly on its side, it will prevent any stones getting stuck. Just before you go sailing and before you get the boat in the water, you want to attach the rudder. To do this, it simply just drops into the connection and should snap in place. Once you're out on the water, to get the rudder down, you want to just push it with your hand and then use the black rope here to tying it up. Make sure that your rudder's fully down all the way, otherwise the boat's hard to control. Once you're out on the water, you want to put the daggerboard in the boat. This simply just drops in, and then you use the bungee here and you clip it on somewhere just in case you capsize. It prevents you from losing it. There's also this loop that hooks over the board and stops it falling. When you're coming into the beach, you want to make sure that you uncleat this before you go anywhere near the beach. Otherwise, if you hit the bottom, the rudder won't come up. To de-rig the boat, you do exactly the same as when you were rigging, but opposite. When dropping the main, to release it from the cleat, you just need to pull the halyard forward and give it a tug. It should snap out. When packing the boat away, you want to make sure you roll the sails, not fold them, otherwise this will damage them. Once you've finished sailing, make sure you tie off the kite retrieval and the kite halyard to the bar at the front so they're easy for the next person to get to. Also, you want to make sure once the boat's packed away that all the halyards are tied around the mast so they don't flap around or get lost in the wind. I hope this video was helpful in learning how to rig the Feva. If you've got any questions or want to know any further tips, feel free to speak to me, but most importantly, get out there and enjoy the Feva.